This is the journey from $0 to $1 million. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Unfortunately, we are not there yet, but we're pumping along, documenting a realistic journey to wealth. No courses to sell, no Discord membership, I promise. I'm just an average guy trying to bring some honesty to a space filled with Lambos, liars, deceivers, charlatans, course sellers, and more course sellers, and actually even more course sellers. And more course sellers. Let's start off with my favorite section, the recap. How much money did I leave off at? We left off at nearly $250 something thousand. Not a bad start. But this week we did a few things to help us get to that $1 million milestone. And as always, if you don't care about ways to actually build your wealth and grow it, and just the final numbers, I'll leave the timestamps in the description. You can skip ahead. Sad. Very sad. For the real ones that actually stayed, thank you first of all. I love you a lot. We're going to talk about the major chunk of my wealth so far, the stock market, baby. Investing. In my opinion, investing is the average person's way to financial freedom, which is why I poured more money into the stock market. My portfolio has returned me decent for the last year. For the last 2 years also, the return is quite high. And that gives me more confidence to invest more money into the stock market. And here's why. If you look at the historical return of the S&P 500, for example, which is the major index in the United States, it is up 10% on average for the last 40 years. What other investment can you tell me that has a 10% on average return for 40 years? I'll wait. And you're not going to come back to me with anything because there are none. None as widely accepted and available as the stock market. I invested more money into the S&P 500 because these are 500 companies that run our lives: Google, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Pepsi, P&G, what you eat, where you sleep, the content you watch, everything is on the S&P 500, which is why I don't think it's going anywhere. I'm up massively on this position, and I think I'm going to continue to make money on this position. I also buy the Canadian market because I am from the Maple Land, if you couldn't tell. I am Canadian, and I think investing in the Canadian ETF like VDY, a Vanguard product, or a product of your choice is a solid bet if you do believe in the potential in the future of Canada. And of course I do, because I love Canada. I think it has tons of natural resources. I think it has the potential to be an economic hub, at least in North America. The proximity to the US is always going to be an underrated factor. And I think I'm bullish on all cylinders. There's a lot of problems to fix, but that is why I think I should be investing, because why would I invest in something that's perfect? There's no future potential for growth. And if you're not sold by the stock market yet, this is going to sell you, trust me, this one thing is going to sell you. And that one thing is dividends. Dividends are lovely. Dividends are just profit payments companies pay out to shareholders. I love this Pepsi example, and I talk about this quite a lot. Pepsi makes Pepsi with sugar and other things that are not good for you. But then they end up selling it to you, and you consume it, you like it a lot, you pay for that Pepsi, and they end up making a profit. Now they can do one of two things. Either they can invest it back into the business, grow the business further, give more people Pepsi, or they can pay it out to the shareholders as an incentive to keep on holding the stock. This is where dividend investors like you and I come in. I've made more than $5,000 this year through dividends alone. Actually, I think the true amount is closer to $5,500, but roughly, lower ball, I made more than $5,000 this year through dividends. That is over $500 every single month for doing nothing. Now, with these $500, you can invest it back into your portfolio, watch it grow further. You can take it out and spend it all on, nefarious things. The key point is buying into the stock market, no matter what the price, no matter what this portfolio does, is essential. I basically have a second job. Look at how much this has returned me in a year. I have a second job. I have a second person working in the workforce with me simply by investing. It's extremely powerful if you think of it this way. If you work 2 jobs for long enough, you should save up a ton of money and you should have more control over your financial freedom. That's how I think about it. There's tons of ways to get started. Just search ETF investing plus the name of your country and you'll get a list of providers out there. You just have to press the buy button after transferring some money, of course. Yeah, you need money, at least $1, transfer it in and buy something. Overall though, my stock portfolio went down, but does that mean I stopped buying? No. I actually bought more, as I've shown you before, because I believe short-term swings in the stock market do not matter. The long-term potential is where the real money is made. Think about it this way. Do you expect rich people to stop being rich and give up control of society anytime soon? If the answer is no, you should keep on investing in the stock market. If the answer is yes, you and I need to have a conversation about what's realistic in this world. I don't have anything against anybody. I just want to be realistic. I am just one part of the system. And I think businesses generate value in society. I just want to attach myself to these businesses and keep on making money as well. Stocks are old though. I've been talking about this for a long time, it feels like. I can hear it already. Give us something new. Give us something that, you did that's new and you made a lot of money doing it. Well, I don't know if it made me a lot of money, but I did try out something new that I want to highlight in this video, which is setting up a business. Keep in mind, I will give a disclaimer here. Businesses are risky. I can lose all of this money that I've invested and I'll get none of it back if I'm not careful. So just a big disclaimer before I tell you what I'm about to tell you. I invested in a business that imports food into the Middle East. As you know, the Middle East is an extremely rich region, at least a lot of countries like the UAE, Qatar, even Saudi Arabia. But the problem is they don't have a lot of food. They don't have food specifically to feed their livestock, but they do need livestock to feed their people. It's sort of a loop of life. And this is where the business comes in. It is a business that imports food to the Middle East, particularly for livestock. I invested around $5,500 into this business, and it generates me roughly 1 to 2% per month. So far, the first payment just came through for around $300 something, which is an awesome sight. That was around 3 to 4 months of effort for $400 times 3. So it does turn out to be an average rate of return of around 20 to 30%, which is a good solid profit margin, a net profit margin for a business. As always, I am your researcher, so I've done the research for you. I found the site wefunder.com that actually has businesses like this out for you to invest in. And the best part is it is crowdfunded. You don't need thousands of dollars up front. You can crowdfund these investments with other investors. The entire point is to make business investing easier and accessible for the average person. For example, this business requires less than $500. This one requires less than $500 as well. If you have some money lying around that you want to allocate towards a riskier investment, this might be worth your shot. Once again, glaring disclaimer, this can all go to waste and I am prepared to lose all the money that I've invested, but I do think at my age, I'll be able to tolerate the risk and I'll be able to make some more money if I do end up losing this. The next thing I did to drive me closer to this goal was investing in my freelancing business. I've had this business for a while now. I've used this to make thousands of dollars, and this week also, I ended up making some money that drove me closer to this $1 million milestone. Freelancing is not easy, but I'm gonna give you a quick 1 minute, 60-second breakdown of how anybody can get started and make some money. The first thing, making an account and making a gig. You need to make an account, you need to make a gig, you need to actually get yourself out there. If you don't know what you want to do, I'll leave a link in the description of the easiest skills to learn for beginner freelancers. This is not me saying this is Upwork, one of the biggest freelancing platforms out there. You've gotten started now. The next step is pricing low. I did this. I started off selling at $5, even though the services I sold, the value was in the hundreds of dollars. But I knew if I don't price low, I'm not going to get those initial clients, that initial feedback that will allow me to price higher later on. And now I'm able to charge $40, $50, sometimes even $60 per hour, depending on the type of job that I get. And the third thing is being patient. You're not going to become a millionaire doing a freelancing business, at least in the first couple of years. You have to stay patient. I've stayed patient for a year now. I'm seeing the rewards in the latter half of the year, and I'm going to stick with this and see how far I can push it for 2026 as well. This is not going to make you a millionaire by its own, but it is such a great tool to add on to your wealth. It allows me to practice a skill that I actually enjoy, which is teaching people how to be good at something, interviews in this case, and at the same time, I get rewarded quite handsomely for it. Get started, you're not going to regret it. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll reply. I don't have a course. Like I said, I mentioned this a lot. I don't have a course. I built this from scratch. It took me a year. I'll try my best to respond and make sure you're not left in the dust like I was. I had to figure out a lot of things on my own, and it took me a lot of time. The last thing I want to cover before we go to the actual numbers is the failures. You have to be comfortable with failing in life in general. I know it's a cliche thing to say, but with anything, especially making money, you are going to fail with 99% of things that you do. I've documented my journey on this channel quite a lot, and over the last few weeks as well. I failed at a lot of things. I failed at trying to make Instagram theme pages. I failed at trying to make digital products. I failed at trying to make influencers that are not real. I failed at trying to make YouTube automation channels, but that is okay. And it's okay because if I didn't try all of those things, I wouldn't have found these 4 or 5 things that work and repeatedly work. And I've tested these out and they've stood the test of time. With anything in general, do not be afraid to fail. If you're following me on this journey, leave a comment and let me know where you are at. And I'll try to find ways to boost your journey as well, because I actually like doing that. I don't want to take your money. I don't want to take your likes and watch hours. I want to build a community of people who lift each other up and help each other get to those goals that are very hard to attain in life, but still worth it. With all that philosophical yapping out of the way, what are the actual numbers? This has been an excellent journey so far. I've learned so much. I hope you've learned a lot as well. And we're going to continue doing this every single week. So subscribe, like, no courses, no Discord communities, not a fake guru, as you can see, because I don't have a Labubu. Sorry, I don't have a Lambo or a Labubu. I'm just a guy trying to make some money online, build wealth, and stop you from getting scammed as well. I'll see you next week.